Hey everybody, it's Jesty back with MRC casting episodes. Along with me is our partner in crime, Pirate. Say hi, Pirate.
How you doing, everybody?
And today we've got something a little different and a little special. The stars aligned, and we've got not one, but two extra casters on this particular match today. Go ahead and introduce yourselves, Vapor and Ellyrian.
Everybody, it's Vapor.
Hey, you all have heard about me. If you haven't, you need to be watching more different shows.
Yeah, Ellyrian is joining us from the Calgary Battletech League today. He played a stand-up fight match with Vapor last week, and we're going to go over it with them at the same time so they can talk about their lists and the moves and decisions they made during the match. I figured this will be something a little bit different and a little more interesting for you guys. So getting into it, we've got Vapor and Ellyrian's list up on the board right now. We have, it looks like, Ellyrian's list up top, so we'll go ahead and start with your list and get right into it.
All right, so Vapor and I decided we were going to have a fun game, playing around, testing out some stuff. With that in mind, I knew he would be bringing some proto-mech goodness to try and abuse me with.
Now, before we get a little too involved, what era and master unit list are you working with here, and what's the battle value total? It looks like 10K.
It was 10K, and I believe it was early or late Republic. I don't remember.
Late Republic.
There we go. So 10K, late Republic.
Oh, thank you. And what MUL were you running this off of?
Jade Falcon, Best Falcon.
Of course. Hang on, let me switch the camo to green for you here.
It's always important to dress properly for the occasion.
That's right, Pirate. All right. Now, if you want to go ahead and get into your list, sorry about that. Didn't mean to interrupt you. I just figured we'd get some background here.
Okay, so that being said, Vapor and I were going to have a game. We are just going to have some fun, and I knew he'd be bringing some proto-mechs. So my first thought was, okay, grab a couple of mechs that I'm going to enjoy playing, regardless of how it goes, which is where the Highlander 2C number 3 and the Battlemaster C came in. Then I threw in a unit of planned medium battle armor, because you can't go anywhere without battle armor.
That's right.
Needed to have a flanker of some kind, so the Hesphatus scout tank came in. Also, it's got 2 medium pulse lasers, so it's pretty accurate when it is out there doing stuff.
Nice, nice. We'll get into the record sheets a little bit, but go ahead and tell us a little bit about what your strategy was for this list off the top of your head before we get into the details.
I rounded out the force with a Kit Fox as well, so that I had a nice 5 units, figuring he's going to outnumber me probably 2 to 1. So I just got to go at him and let him bring a little bit into me and try and hope for the best. See where it goes.
All right, gotcha. And Vapor, let's get into your list next. You're obviously 10K Late Republic as well, but what MUL are you using?
Correct. This is the Late Republic Clan Hell's Horses MUL. Recent convert after the incidents with Dominions Divided have pushed me away from my beloved Ghost Bears. I'm trying these guys out, and I really wanted to do a mix of various units, trying to get my head wrapped around using combined arms to the best result.
The irony is not lost on you going from the coldest totem mech to the hottest one.
Little spicy Kelpie action. Never hurt anybody. Threw this list together, like I said, wanting to try a little bit of everything. So you'll notice I've got mechs, I've got proto-mechs, I've got BA, I've got a tank, an actual tank rather than my usual hover tank. Units in here I've never really run with before, the Ebon Jaguar H. Just wanted to see how it performed. I've never actually taken one before.
All right, you don't got to get too detailed. We'll get into the record sheet shortly. But what was your overall strategy with this list as a just flyover?
Absolute speed and swarm. I like to brawl, and everybody in here gets in quick.
I like it already. All right, so we'll go ahead and get back into the record sheets here. We'll probably go with Ellyrian's first, because I think that's the order they're in currently. Yep, not wrong. So let's take a look at this Battlemaster C.
There's one thing that stands out real fast. I mean, I see Battlemaster C, I kind of gloss over everything, and then I see a big bracket in the right arm and go, is that a hag? Is that a hag 30?
That is a big hag. So what can you tell us about this Battlemaster C, Ellyrian? What were your thoughts and what was your reason for picking it?
I started off with just being like, oh, Battlemaster, that's clan tech. Let's add that. And then I looked at what it was armed with, and I was like, yep, that's staying. Hag 30, awesome. ATMs for both short and long range. That's good. And a crap ton of medium pulse lasers for when stuff gets near me. That's going to deal with some protomechs.
Gotcha. And it looks like it's rounded off with a nice targeting computer too. So it'll be accurate at the skill you were running it at. Was that 4.5 or 3.4?
He was coming in as a 3.5, actually.
Oh, so taking
all my pilots were running 3.5 today.
Gotcha. Good thing to note. I missed that earlier when we were going over the flyover. But this is the deadly assault class battle mech. 4.6, not too quick, but it can definitely brawl. Any other thoughts on this mech? Vapor and or Pirate?
That targeting computer, does that work with the Hag?
It should.
It does. It's a direct fire weapon. The only thing it won't work with on there is the ATMs.
Okay, because I was thinking maybe the Hag was like the LBX or clusters, but if it works with a direct fire weapon like a Hag, that changes me wanting to take the Hag more often.
You know, you might be right. I don't really run hacks enough to pay that close of attention.
I thought it did. We'll have to double check the rules later, or somebody can correct us down in the comments below. But
we should be able to pick that out on round like 3.
Yeah.
Once it starts shooting, we'll know.
Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and get into the next unit. We've got the next assault in this list, the Highlander 2C3. All right, Ellyrian, let's get into this one.
All right, so this one's also sporting a Hag 20, a pair of Streak 6s, and a trio of medium pulse lasers to back up the LRM 20. The Highlander's just a beautiful mech. The Highlander 2C is even nicer. I love the model. And I was like, I'll play with this. It's got good, well-rounded firepower at all ranges.
All right, looks solid. You got your long range covered, you got your short range to medium range covered, and you can jump for 3. The classic Highlander 353 movement profile. Not much to say about it. It is pricey, coming in at 3,001 battle value as a base. It'll be a little more expensive with your 3.5 skill level for this bad boy.
Yeah, it ended up 3601.
Oof, that's a spicy meatball there.
But the Battlemaster was 3630. So I was looking for, 2 solid units to take up about 3/4 of my BV.
And these are definitely that. Are any closing thoughts on this particular mech?
I got a natural 12 for the next mech to have a Hag 30.
All right, let's see if Pirate's prediction will come true. No, not quite. Messed up the order on you there. There's the Oler classic Kit Fox Prime. What do you want to? Anything you want to tell us about this, or do you think everybody might already know about this beautiful piece of machinery?
You cannot go wrong with the Kit Fox Prime. If I needed to move the battle armor, he was there for that. And otherwise, he was there with a LB5 and an ER large just to plink away at long range.
Nice.
That's the important part. This is a long range harasser. This is not a short range brawler, which is why most of us struggle.
Says it right there in the rule, sniper. Just because it's got
you can't read. You can't read.
That's true. You're right. Just because it's got a small pulse laser and a streak 4 doesn't mean you got to use it. It's got a 6.9 movement profile, so you can stay out of range if you really want to. Any closing arguments on this, or are we ready to move on to the next one, boys? All right, next up, that's 3 mechs. That means your scout tank is up next. 812 movement profile. Ooh, that's spicy for a hover tank. What can you tell us about this bad boy?
Just there to be reactive. If I need to go out and flank, he goes and flanks. If he's coming at me and I need to try and move block something before it explodes, then that's what it's there for.
It's not a bad objective runner either. You got an ECM, a probe, and a tag. It's the perfect scout. Little bit on the slow side for a hover tank, if you ask me. But it does have 2 medium pulse lasers, and it's decently armored with 20 in the front and sides and 18 in the rear. So can't complain too much. And it comes in real cheap at 777 base battle value.
Oh, that's a lucky number. And then I've noticed clan vehicles tend to have the armor spread pretty evenly everywhere. I don't know if it's just because I'm new to vehicles, but this and the opponent and something else. They don't seem to have a huge, massive gap in the rear like it seems other vehicles have.
Oh yeah, that's right. These pulse lasers are also in a turret, which means it can be facing any direction and then fire these pulse lasers in any direction as well.
Yeah, as long as the turret doesn't lock, it was good to fly around the outsides if it needed to and just plink away.
Nice. Any closing thoughts? Seems a pretty straightforward unit here.
Very straightforward. Nothing tricksy with that one.
All right, let's go ahead and get into the next one. And here we have the Clan Medium Battle Armor. I'm going to let you guys pronounce it because Pirate and I have already butchered it for 2 episodes now. How do you say this
I would
word?
call it a rocher.
I would just call it a rocher. I would think it would be French, but I mean, we could both be completely wrong.
And I mean, it doesn't have the accent on the E, but I figure that's because somebody's keyboard just didn't work right.
See, I've been calling it a rash like chicken pox.
I mean, that's reasonable.
Well, I'll take the Canadian's word on it. He's closer to French people than I am, or French-speaking people, I should say. All right, we've seen this battle armor before. It's a jump 4, which is nice for battle armor, and it's got a machine gun, which can reach out to 3 hexes and 2 SRM3 one-shots, which both can be unloaded in the same round. So definitely packs a nice little spike of damage for 1 turn there.
I just realized that's what OS stands for, is one shot.
Yes, hands down, these are just better elementals. Same armor, longer jump, can dump all those SRMs in one go, and it has more SRMs than the normal point elemental.
Well, I'm glad you jumped in on this one, Pirate, because I'm sorry, not Pirate, Vapor, because you actually have one of these in your list as well. Same set. I don't know about the skill level, but it's the same model of battle armor.
You know, we never saw any of this in like the video games or much of the lore. So whoever brought this plague of Rachel battle armor into MRC, it's
That's
definitely
also
been a
me.
big hit. This and
I stumbled across them going through a mull early on. I was like, oh, I like these, and I started using them, and now I'm just preaching the word. Like, they're really good.
I'll
Jump
tag
forward.
these up there like Dasher H's
Yeah,
and
they
Koshi
are
A's now.
cheaper than normal elementals to boot. So just across the board, outside of their main gun, they're better.
Can't
Yeah, I don't
argue.
know how they mathed it, but I mean, it does everything better and it's cheaper. So why would you ever bring standard?
The one shot, for whatever reason, is lower BV, and I think that's where it's it. But yeah, there's literally no point in bringing normal elemental
All right.
outside of like a flamer.
Well, these battle armor are extremely efficient. We'll see what you guys can do with them. But that's it for Ellyrian's list. And we'll be moving on to Vapor's list. And here's his first mech, Cauldronborn / Ebon Jaguar H. What can you tell us about this beautiful piece of machinery?
5'8" movement profile, nothing but hole punchers. That's all he's there for, is to be big, scary, and get in. He's got a T-comp for all of it, so I felt comfortable running it as a 4-gunnery, which saved me some BV to use elsewhere. Only thing I don't like about the Ebon Jaguar is the low leg armor for the weight class. Outside of that, all the variants seem really solid depending on what you want them to do.
All right, and rounding out this weapons loadout, we have 2 heavy medium lasers, heavy large, a medium pulse laser, and an ultra autocannon 20. So that targeted computer's canceling out the bonus from the heavy lasers, or the penalty, I should say, of +1 that the heavy lasers come with. And it's giving you a -3 with your pulse lasers and a -1 on that ultra autocannon 20. Definitely good use. I hate running heavy lasers without a targeting computer because I feel like I'm going to miss by 1 every single time I use them otherwise.
Another thing to note is he's got 7.5 turns of UAC 20 ammo there, so he can empty that out. That's a beautiful thing. It's all protected by case, of course, but 7 turns is nice.
And that's going full auto. He can pick and choose to extend his ammo out. You're not guaranteed to hit with both rounds if you do go full auto.
Daka.
All right. Any closing thoughts on this particular mech?
If you like a Hellbringer, this just does it better. There is not a bad Cauldronborn out there.
No, they're all really solid choices.
You heard it here first, folks. Next up, we've got, I like this one, Dragonfly Viper C. All right, Vapor, go ahead and tell us everything about this one and why it's one of the best Vipers out there.
Oh, absolutely. For the BV, it's the second cheapest. Great movement profile, good armor, fast mover, gets in, flanks, kicks, and then it dumps all that close range firepower. It is a quick brawler, in my opinion, and for what you pay for it, you will always get your BVs for it.
Yeah, coming in with
Don't overlook the active probe either.
Oh, absolutely. Well, unless you're playing with the active probes and woods rule, that doesn't come up too much, or in a city. but when it does come up, it makes all the difference in the world.
Or objective games. But yeah.
Coming in at a cheap 1344 battle value, it's got 2 ER medium lasers, the active probe, as we mentioned, 2 flamers, 4 machine guns, and 1 more flamer that was hiding at the bottom of the list. With the classic Dragonfly 812A movement profile, this bad boy is going to be jumping across the map in no time.
It's
I like
also
this.
extremely heat efficient. Not perfectly neutral, but close enough.
I like this for the crit seeking that it's probably going to do after those heavy lasers punch some holes. But only thing I might consider doing is you got way too much ammo in there for the game size we play. Might want to like dump all the ammo out of one of your 2 of your bins. Then that way you have less chance of getting an ammo explosion despite the case.
Yeah, 600 rounds of machine gun ammo is a little excessive.
It's made for the campaign.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, any last thoughts on the Dragonfly Viper C? Moving on then. Next up, we've got the Mongrel E. So, I know you've been preaching this mech lately, Vapor. Tell me why you love it so much and why the Mongrel I is the next best Mongrel.
7.11.7. Great hitting power, especially up close when you switch to HE rounds. You got enough ammo to take a smattering of everything, so you're effective at all ranges. The closer you get, the nastier this gets, and you can pick and choose your target.
So it can jump. It's got 1 medium pulse laser, 1 ER small laser, and 2 ATM 6s. And the close range ATM ammo does 3 per missile, if I remember correctly.
Correct. And it's got built-in Artemis.
Oof, even better. All right, anybody got anything that stands out to them? Anything specific about this mech? I mean, it seems fairly good, although it's quite expensive for the tonnage.
I'm a big fan of the Grendel myself. I really like it. It's just got a good profile. I'm a little bit more of a fan of the C variant with the LB10 and the ER medium because it comes in way cheaper. But other than that, this one is definitely a far superior brawler.
It's a clan assassin.
Exactly. The only thing I don't like about the C is only 1 ton of LBX ammo. For our 15 turn games, like I don't like not being able to shoot for a full third of them if it goes the distance.
I find it's usually dead before then if it's in there.
Fair.
All right, any last thoughts on the Mongrel / Grendel E? All right, moving on. We have the Enyo Strike Tank. All right, Vapor, what can you tell us about this interesting little clan tracked vehicle?
I kind of liked it just for being a 6'9", really solid armor all around. Loadout's really good. I was bringing it more as a crit seeker with the 3 streak 6s. I didn't even notice it had an LPL until I actually put it on the table. I was like, oh, wow, that's got more than I thought it did. I probably played this one wrong. I'm not very familiar with vehicles in general. So this was very much a learning experience for me for something outside of a hover tank.
Yeah, with that large pulse laser, you can sit back and bring pain accurately from far away. It's got 3 streaks SRM 6s, which means if you do connect, that is a full 12 damage hitting the target, and 2 machine guns. Only the large pulse laser and 1 of the streak 6s is in the turret, though, so you're going to have to watch your facing for the other 2 streaks and the 2 machine guns.
All in all, though, I was very impressed by the tank. I probably need to bring it a few more times and just actually learn how to play it properly, but I was impressed with the BB that I paid for it. Worth every penny.
Pretty spicy there at 1504, but it is well armored in the front and side arcs and the rear arc, actually. Like Pirate mentioned earlier, almost a even as possible spread of armor on this thing.
It's definitely a resilient tank.
Right. And I ran it at a 4.5, mostly because the paddling didn't matter at all. I wasn't really worried about turning on streets. And I felt like I could keep the gunnery down low. It was going to be close enough to use the streaks, and the LPL has the built-in -2.
Now, which one has the crit hits on the motives? That's it
all of them.
hovers is worst, and then track, then wheeled, or
Hovers have the worst. They get some kind of like a +2, +3 bonus anytime they take a hit on the side. Track has the best. I think it's just a flat chance as far as I'm aware.
Gotcha.
Yeah, track are the most resilient when it comes to motive hits, but almost any time you hit one of these vehicles on the side, you're going to be generating motive crits, and eventually one of them's going to stick. Either that or your turret will get locked in place or your crew will get stunned or whatever. Vehicles are just a lot less resilient than battle mechs. There's a lot more that can go wrong, whereas a battle mech, you just got to worry about them falling over.
Well, you don't want the poster child Atlas getting blown up by a bulldog tank too often, you know.
Very true. All right, now for the little spice on top, we'll get into these little proto mechs. Now, Vapor, since you ran them, you get to tell us all about them.
I'll tell you what I know, and honestly, I'm just trying to experiment with them to figure out how I want to rule them for NFL purposes, or neural feedback loop format. What happens is you buy them for our rules, you will buy them as a point. You have to buy 5. You can only buy 5. You cannot run more than 1 point of Protomech. Within that, the 5 move, shoot, everything as 1 unit. So if you move 1, you've got to move all 5. If you shoot 1, you've got to shoot all 5. So you don't get the initiative sinking value out of bringing multiple units. In general, they're, depending on every one of them's completely different. I've been going through experimenting with ones I like. The Hell's Horses have a much different list than the Snow Ravens. And as far as I'm aware, those are the only 2 that even have them on the mull in this era. I like them. I don't feel like they do that much in general, but they do tend to draw a lot of firepower away from my other units. So they're worth you bringing just for the distraction factor more than anything.
So they're really more of a swarm unit than, a real threat. Although they do have some decently dangerous weapons.
It does okay. Depending on which ones you bring and how much you're paying, I try to keep them under 1,000 BV for the 5. Move blocking is big with them. Units cannot move through the hex that they're in. You can kind of pin stuff back or at least keep it from going in a direction that you don't want them to. Overall, the weapons don't tend to do too much. They have very limited ammo, very short range on almost all of them outside of the Centaurs that I brought have LRM 3s, which are interesting, but they only have 3 shots with them. So you have to play this little game of, okay, do I take that pot shot on a 10 or do I save it for a better and hope I don't die in between?
Oh, that's weird. It says ammo 8 right there.
Oh, maybe that one is one of it's the orcs that have the ammo 3.
Ah, okay. We'll get into that one next, I think.
Yeah, I again, very new to using them. This is probably the 3rd game I've ever played them in.
So with the construction rules, when they were being built and they had optional rules for that, you actually paid tonnage and whatnot for the amount of shots you wanted. That's why you see some with an LRM3 with 8 shots and some with an LRM3 with 5 shots or 3 shots.
That makes more sense. All the ones that I took in this game were all 6.9 movement profile. I wanted to keep them together and I wanted them fast. Like that's what this whole list was the slowest one I had in the whole list, is not counting the BA, would be the Cauldronborn.
Gotcha. And that was your heavy hitter. So he gets a free pass.
He gets a pass.
So this is more like a Zerg list, which is right up my alley as a Zerg player. This particular model, the Centaur Standard, because there are multiple iterations of these, like an Omni-Mech almost. This one's got an SRM2 with 10 rounds of ammo, an LRM3 with 8 rounds of ammo, and 1 ER micro laser. So not terrible, but I mean, I've seen worse weapon loads out on light mechs. So
this one is one of the heavier hitters that are available. In general, it's held up every time I've brought it. I've never regretted bringing one for 192 BV.
And this bad boy comes in at 192 at. And what skill did you run them all at?
All of them, I think on this one, I ran them as 4-5. They don't technically have a piloting skill, so I didn't want to change it to, I could have changed it to 6 and say BV, but that felt kind of dirty since they don't actually have a piloting skill. Megamech just assigns them one.
Gotcha. All right. Well, we've spent enough time looking at this one. Let's take a look at the next one. You ran 2 of these Centaurs for the record.
2 of these.
Here's the Orc 4. It's got the 6.9 movement profile you mentioned. And here's that 3 rounds of ammo that you talked about earlier on the SRM3.
Correct. And only 12 machine gun shots between the 2 machine guns.
So that's 6 rounds of usefulness out of this mech. Maybe 9 if you spread them out and shoot 1 per turn.
Weirdly enough, I've grown to really like this one for what you pay for it. You just have to be really smart and get in close with it. And then all of a sudden, the low ammo doesn't matter as much.
Exactly how does damage work on these? I'm assuming it's like a mech where It's got three pips in the arm, so once you do more than 3 damage, that arm is gone, and then you'll transfer internal. Anything specific about this or special?
Once you go through the armor, the pilot actually takes hits, going with the lore. Now, Protomechs do have a very interesting rule where if you roll a 3 or an 11 on the hit table, it's a near miss and does no damage. So you shoot an AC 20. If you roll an 11, it just doesn't do anything.
Yeah, I was going to get into that before we finished up with these, but that is definitely a factor that you need to consider when shooting at these things and when using them. There's a chance that they'll just get off scot-free when they would have been otherwise murdered.
I'm also not entirely sure that it transfers. I think you just blow the piece off.
Oh, that's even better.
But you do get that pilot hit on top of it. So it does do bad things. Unlike a mech, when you lose an arm, if you lose a proto arm, your pilot takes damage.
Yeah, they can take 6 hits. So, I mean, they've got 2 arms. That's only 2 hits. It'll be all right.
Correct. And the legs, though, they're not individual legs. It's all one.
Ah, okay. So there's actually only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pips here.
This game where I had the legs blown off of one and he just couldn't move anymore.
I could see how that would be painful. Oh yeah, that's right. There's a neurofeedback that affects the pilot, which is why they take the damage, similar to a Gauss rifle exploding or something like that.
They do have the award for weirdest paper doll design, both here and in Mega Mech.
Yes,
they are pretty goofy looking. I enjoy them.
All right, that's enough for the
Orc 4. The other thing to note is the pilot's right in the torso and not in the head, so you can shoot the head off and the pilot lives.
Correct. All right, this last one is a quad protomech, which I didn't think they could get any weirder. We've got 2 AP Gauss rifles and 1 SRM2 with 5 rounds for the SRM2 and 32 rounds of ammo for those 2 AP Gauss rifles, which means this thing can go the distance and fire every single turn in a regular, normal MRC/NFL match.
This guy is the whole reason why I've kind of gotten into using Protomechs. I love this unit. Fast, the 2 AP Gauss rifles hit pretty hard, and you've got the backup SRM2 for a little bit of crit seeking. You've got ammo to last, and for 237 BV, you can't complain.
It's got about as much armor as most Locusts, so I can't complain either. The only problem is you got to take 4 other units with it.
It's got the armor of a Locust. It's got more firepower than a Locust. It's 6'9" in speed. This is actually one of my favorite Protomechs.
I don't know if it's got more than a Locust, but I'd say about even with most of them.
The only bad thing about this one is where it's a quad, it cannot torso twist. You have to be very particular with your position.
Ah, good to know. And can this one do a melee attack, a Protomech Thrash? I forgot what it's... There's a different kind of melee they can do.
Yes. They can all do Protomech Frenzy, which is based on their weight as to how much damage. I think all of the ones that I brought do 2 damage.
Gotcha. Okay, so
it's not much, but it's a little, and it's...
So
even when you run out of ammo, you can still do something.
Exactly. You're not completely useless, even on that orc that's got like 4 turns of ammo total. So once you're out of ammo, you just go and scratch their shins to death, I guess.
Correct, but that orc is also about 100 BB less than this guy.
And it never came up, but I believe the physical attack is better against infantry than it is for mechs.
That's just mean. Let's say one of these things that looks like a giant werewolf. I'm looking at the picture of it on Sarna. You're taking that thing against infantry. It was pretty brutal sounding.
Are you looking at so there's the main Procyon, which is the one that looks like a werewolf standing up. And then this one has different art. It's actually almost a completely different unit. It's a variation on that called the Procyon Quad. And it looks like a wolf with 2 rifles on its back. It actually looks really cool.
That does look pretty cool. You're correct on that.
I may have to pick me up some of these for future use.
I just did. You will see them at NashCon.
One thing to note, though, look at that hit table. Because there's no arms, you're more likely to hit the torso, which means you're more likely to kill them if you do hit them.
Very true. All right, I think that just about does it for the mechs. Now, we can go ahead and, before we get into the first turn, whoops, nobody looked behind the curtain here. We can do one last overview of your list real quick. So now that we've seen the units, is there anything that's standing out to anybody that you may not have noticed before, or a theme or anything like that? Like the 3-5 piloting for Ellyrian's list that I missed the first time around?
Yeah, I think I really like Ellyrian's list mainly because it's balanced but it's varied. So you don't have anything like that just completely stands out besides those hags. That can just be a theme for the list. So this would be one that seems pretty straightforward to run. Like, okay, the Highlander and the Battlemaster kind of get up and do their thing in midfield. You got your Harasser, and then you've got your Battle Armor and Hephaestus to get up in there and cause some havoc. But it's a pretty straightforward list, so it seems like you'd have less risk of terrain or your enemy bringing something janky that would totally mess you up.
Yeah, and Vapor's list is just complete swarm. You've got 5 extra people on the field, and they're just going to cause havoc. He literally outnumbers Ellyrian 2-1.
Well, but you got 1 point for those proto-mechs, so really they're actually, pretty close.
Yeah, I mean, movement-wise, all the proto-mechs will be moving simultaneously. So Ellyrian will not be outmaneuvered, and they cannot be used as an initiative sync unless you move all 5 of them at the same time. So he's not quite as outnumbered as he might look on paper, but there's just a lot of targets to shoot at.
And anyone not familiar with proto-mechs is going to see that list, and if they're playing against it, they'll basically go, man, I don't know, like, are they just big elementals and I ignore them? Oh shit, they're killing me. I guess I gotta focus on them. Like, that's a weird thing to play against.
Yeah, we'll see how the target priority goes and how this match plays out. Any last thoughts before we get into the deployment?
I'm surprised y'all didn't notice Ellyrian's wall of pulse.
It's late Republic. Everything is pulse at this point. There is no regular laser.
Yeah,
I was going to say, I feel like it's my Zerg running into a defending wall. It's pretty fun.
I mean, he'll be hitting consistently or more consistently with the pulse lasers, but you've just got so many targets. We'll see if he just gets overwhelmed or what.
Really, the fun of this game was seeing who could outlast the other one. It was definitely a grind. I enjoyed it a lot.
It was a lot of fun. I would define Vapor's list as proto-mech jank bullshit.
Noted.
You got your pulse bullshit, I got my jank bullshit. It was a fun bullshit fight.
Speaking of a fun bullshit fight, let's go ahead and get into the match. So here is the map, and we've got Ellyrian over here on the west side of the map. Here's the Battlemaster, the Hephaestus tank, his Highlander 2C, his Battle Armor, and his Kit Fox. Notably, the Battle Armor are not hitching a ride on that Uller. And over here on the east, we've got Vapor's Wall of Zerg over here, his Cauldronborn in the north, and then the Grendel, the Enyo Strike Tank, and the Dragonfly deploying more to the south. Was there a conscious decision to spread your forces out like this, Vapor? Or
Absolutely. As soon as I saw the map and I saw what I was up against, I knew he would try to turtle up. So what I was going to go for was a delayed flank. Force him to either take on the north group or the south group. He's going to clump either way. The south group got there first. They're faster overall. But I knew that he would have to focus one way or the other. That was the general plan.
Whether the players wanted to or not, this map turns it into a King of the Hill match.
Pretty much.
Yeah, no kidding. With one big hill in the middle north portion of the map and very sparse woods cover throughout the map as a whole, with a little bit of water thrown in here and there just to keep you honest. Not much terrain to speak about as a whole for this particular map. So how did that affect your placing at the start of the match there, Ellyrian?
So looking at the map, I looked at it and I'm like, okay, so proto-mechs are only like 1 level tall. So I'm going to use that hill to try and split his forces, try and get him to take the proto-mechs north. So hopefully they won't have a whole lot of line of sight. And I can try and deal with the other stuff initially. Gotcha.
All right, we'll get into the first moves. We might go a little quick through the movement here, just because, we have the people who made the moves here. So Highlander and Dragonfly both move up. Highlander behind some trees, Dragonfly behind a hill, chump dumping the battle armor, which is an extra, 4 hexes of movement on that first turn, than having them be dismounted?
My problem was I didn't have a better, closer place to drop them that would have been out of line of sight. So I figured they could take a couple extra.
You
It
put
saved
them in
them
the
2
water.
turns and got them in.
What was
No,
that,
no,
pirate?
you can't, weirdly enough.
Just go jump in the water with them on you, and that's fine. Battle armor deserves to die.
Can go in space, can't go in water. Like what?
Well, they end up on the bottom of a lake and it takes them a few hours to get back out, so the battle's over.
All right, let's get into the next little bit of movement here. Grendel moves up, not really much to speak about. Also, the Battlemaster scooches up just a little bit, staying in the forests. The Battle Armor jump forward, and the NU Strike Tank moves out of his cover in the forest. Just a little bit of positioning from the two of you. Anything you guys want to comment on, or should we keep moving on?
Keep moving.
I was going to say, this first turn is just me positioning for later turns. There was
Oh, and there they all go. All right, so here it looks like all of turn one's movement has played out. It looks like the pack of Protomechs moved up top along with the Cauldronborn, like a nice little bodyguard for him. And the Hephaestus Scout Tank moved up top to, I don't know, distract him maybe? What was your plan
Play
here?
bait and try and just hold him up there.
Playing Come Catch Me with the Hephaestus.
So, Ellyrian, why didn't you mount the battle armor on the Oler? Because isn't that an Omni?
It is. I forgot.
Oh.
Did you know?
Hephaestus is as well.
Oh, that's right. It is. It's a prime, so that's definitely an indicator that it's an Omni vehicle.
I forgot, but I also wasn't too concerned with it because they're mainly in the list to play close-in defense for the mechs.
Okay, that's fair. But do you know that you can mount them after the lobby once you're into placing, right?
Yeah, I just wasn't worried about it.
Gotcha. Okay, just making sure.
He doesn't need to do that to win. He's got this.
I forgot he's been playing Battletech longer than I've known the franchise has existed. All
Yeah,
right.
it was the 80s that I was playing it in.
Oh, yeah, you got me beat there. I didn't start playing the games until the 90s, so.
I was going to say early 90s for me, so you got me on that front. I feel like there were just some pot shots. I don't even think anything hit.
I don't think there was any line of sight for turn one.
Yeah, we were
Let's
mostly
double
behind
check.
the woods and hills and everything else.
So here is turn one. That's not true. A medium pulse laser nailed a Centaur 2. Looks like it took out, what was that?
Left arm.
Left arm. Okay. So first blood was drawn by Ellyrian and his Hephaestus Scout Tank.
And you notice the pilot did take a hit for the arm being ripped off.
Very true. He only had one internal structure remaining on his torso after that. That's a big hit for a little
So
unit.
it did transfer.
Yep. Good to know. Okay. There was also a critical hit on the arm, so that might be an extra pilot hit. I'm not sure.
I think it would say. I feel like there's only one done to him.
Gotcha. And then a little bit of damage onto the battle armor. It looks like everything else is just whiffing. So we can go ahead and get into round 2, which it looks like Vapor won initiative on. Highlander 2C moves up a bit behind some tree cover.
Yeah, I know he's going to be all over me, so I'm just trying to get into a position to defend against.
And Strike Tank moves up. Clan Medium Battle Armor jumps up. Both Clan Medium Battle Armor jump up, I should say. Sorry about that. Cauldronborn moves up into 3 hexes away from the Hephaestus Scout Tank. Battlemaster moves up to help block for the Highlander. Looks like they're using the buddy system here. And the Grendel jumps forward. 2 trees between them, but still a ballsy play there. You guys want to talk about this particular setup down here, toward the bottom middle of the map?
Most of mine was setting that top flank up for later. All this, I kind of gambled on it, but I figured between everybody running, the tree cover, PMMs, he would still be 9s or worse, which I was willing to gamble with. I did want to get that Inyo in, start work, and then I believe I moved the Dragonfly up as well.
Yeah, we'll get into that. There's still a couple of units that need to move, as well as your Protomechs for that matter. So anything you want to comment on in this particular stage of the turn there, Ellyrian?
No, at this point I was knowing that I was going to be holding those trees and I was just moving up to that. I was holding the scout tank in reserve, being like, either he's going to try and just move block me from going into his flank, in which case I can then fall backwards and pot shot at him from range, or he's going to come in and I just got to maybe go past him and get into his backfield.
You got anything on your mind there, Pirate? You look like you're in contemplation.
No, I'm just trying to think. All of those Protomechs in swarming formation, if you had a Protomech that runs 6'9", it's going to be on you pretty fast. You can't really back up too much. But they do have small weapons, so as long as you can stay out of SRM range, you could take pot shots all day at them. So I'm trying to think of how to kill them the next time I fight them.
From range.
Treat them like big battle armor, I'm assuming. Don't let them get close.
Yeah, but
Treat them like locusts and stingers and all other light mechs.
But you only have 3 to 4 turns. Otherwise, 9 times 4 is 36. They can cross the map.
Yeah, these particular ones are definitely quick. So the rush is real. Let's move on here and see how the rest of the moves play out.
Notice that Kit Fox backing up to do exactly that, but getting a relatively good line of sight on either the Grendel or some of those proto-mechs.
Correct. There's a couple of trees in the way right there. You might have a shot on these two in this particular hex, but he's got a clear line on the Grendel.
Thinking that damaged Centaur.
Oh yeah, that damaged Centaur is just chilling right there.
Now, can proto-mechs go in the water?
I wasn't sure, so I didn't tempt fate, but reading up on it later, it seems like they are. There's nothing on their table saying they can't. So I'll test it out against Princess at some point.
Yeah, we'll have to do some science later.
But at the time, I was not sure if they could or not, but they're not on any table, so I'm assuming they can.
Ooh, there we go. It looks like he almost had a surround on the Hephaestus.
I knew I couldn't. I didn't have enough movement to block that back one, but I didn't want him running Merry Hell in my backfield either, which is why I moved the way I did.
Now,
I was either going to force him to take multiple colleague skill rolls or back away like he did.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the Hephaestus is a hover tank, so we could have just walked over the water anyway.
Negative. Oh yeah, over the water, yes, but he still was not going to get. I didn't want him in my backfield. It's really the whole goal.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah, I could have turned and went straight south there, or I turned one and I went just straight backwards to get some range for those medium pulses to do some work.
Gotcha. All right, looks like movement is almost done here. I think just the dragonflies left. And there we go. It moves up into level 1 cover from the looks of it. Or is that level 2?
Blocked from the woods group, but I had a line of sight on the Hephaestus, which is who my target was.
Gotcha. Yeah, there's a level 4 here blocking. Sorry, go ahead, Pirate.
That's a little hidey hole right there.
Yeah, that's a nice spot. Could have dropped the battle armor there, maybe. But, I mean, they're already pretty close as is.
Yeah, normally we'll drop them by turn 1, maybe turn 2. I wanted them as initiative sinks than anything else. Their job is clean up. They're not main fighters for me.
Gotcha. So how do you feel about the way the movement turned out on this particular turn, Ellyrian?
It's pretty much as I expected. I should have had the Battlemaster more one to the left so that he's not blocked by the trees but having better fire. But, that was a deployment issue.
Gotcha. Let's see the lines, and there they are. Looks like a lot of fire going on to the Hephaestus, and a lot of fire, 3 mechs and the battle armor all pouring into the Grendel EU there.
You notice the focus firing, so it's not like a lot of newer players who go, ooh, I want to hit something. So I'm going to aim for the best numbers there. There's definitely some intention there of, let me nail something to get it off the board.
Yeah, definitely. We'll go ahead and get into the combat log. That way we can see how this turn shakes out. Okay.
Oh, I'm already seeing some scary looking rolls there.
Ooh, connecting onto the Grendel. A Highlander putting some work on the head. There's 1 pilot hit already on the Grendel E. Needing 9s and hitting with most of them. That's a decent turn for the Highlander 2C. 3.
Well, return fire, the Grendel managed to take some good hits on the Highlander. I mean, it's a Highlander, so it's going to shake it off, but at least there's another head hit for its trouble.
Trading shots to the dome between the 2 mechs there. Battlemaster C looks like he had a bunch of wiffle sauce for lunch there. Didn't hit a single thing, needing 10s, 11s, and a couple of 8s there, which you would have expected at least one of those to land.
So it does look like the Hag operates with the T-Comp.
Yeah, I would expect so. If I remember correctly, I don't know. I'm pretty sure the LBXs do as well, don't they?
Yes, as long as you're just doing a direct shot.
Yeah.
Blood, but not shot.
There you go. Okay. Viper missing on the Hephaestus, needing 11, so definitely not an easy shot, especially considering that the Viper jumped. And then the battle armor unloading into the Grendel. Looks like they nail him with one of the SRM-3 one-shots. That's a lot of SRMs. Rolls 11, 12 missiles hit. That's 24 damage. Good lord. That's a lot of damage from one little round of those battle armor.
Including 2 through armor criticals.
And nothing came of them, though, fortunately for Vapor there.
So, pop quiz for you two. I don't like shooting the one-shot SRMs unless I have like sixes. Like, if I'm gonna shoot it, I'm gonna shoot it when I've got a pretty good chance. Do y'all feel the same way?
I do. I hold mine until I have a good shot, or if I know I'm going to die soon. It's one of those.
Yeah.
Oh, and here we go. First blood of the match. The Hephaestus Scout Tank looks like he takes out Centaur Standard. I'm not sure if that's the same Centaur.
That's the untouched one, actually.
Wow, 2 pulse lasers, and he's just
torso.
done.
Yep, both of them hit the torso.
I'm not sure what the odds of that are, but that's
pretty good.
I was going to say, that's probably not outside the realm of expectation there. I mean, it is basically a Zergling. You expect them to get, killed in droves as they make their suicide charge.
To me, that's kind of what I brought them for, was absorb fire.
Ooh.
Now,
they can dish it too.
He definitely got his revenge back, though.
Oh, and not a good sign for the Hephaestus Scout Tank. Already the Centaur putting him into immobile, major damage on the motive check there. Nails him with the LRM-3 with 2 missiles hitting. Just enough to make that Scout Tank no longer Scout.
Now, vehicles are weird because you can't technically put them in force withdrawal, so they just kind of sit there. I think for scoring purposes you can, but
force withdrawal for them, right? It's really weird. Like, Megamech doesn't show it right. The only way to put them in force withdrawal is to completely destroy one section of armor, which normally if you do that, they're dead. But that's the only way to, as far as I know, to put them into force withdrawal. Maybe engine destroyed crit is one as well, but I know the open armor one is. Just being immobile does not actually put you in force withdrawal.
I think engine destroyed would destroy the vehicle, wouldn't it?
It doesn't. It actually just turns off any energy weapons, and they can't move anymore in the turret lock.
So if you're a missile boat vehicle, you still go hard.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Noted for LRM carriers in the future. All right, looks like this turn is about done. Only 3 heat on the Highlander and no melee to be had this round. So let's get in to the next round and see what the aftermath looks like. There's that black dot on the Hephaestus right there.
Right, but that's an incorrect one. He's
sort
just
of
immobile. His weapons still work. He just can't move.
Gotcha.
L turret.
Pretty much. Still an effective one, though.
I mean, he's got 2 pulse lasers. Not bad.
At least he's pointed the right direction.
Most definitely. All right, let's get into the movement for this round. Whoa.
Oh.
Hang on. Is that... Okay, so there's 2 proto-mechs in the same hex as the Hephaestus. With stacking rules, you could have 1 set of infantry in there, and then you'd have a full hex, correct?
Correct.
Okay, but as far as capacity for non-infantry units, this hex is at max, unless I think you could put a battle mech in there, right?
I don't think you can, actually.
I think you can actually do a battle mech as well.
Yeah, you can have 1 battle mech and a vehicle. I know the limit is 4 units, I think, in 1 hex, but there can never be more than 1 battle mech in a hex at any given point.
It never let me put... I was going to put that orc on there, too, but it wouldn't let me, so I had to assume the whole hex was full.
No, I think it's full for that type of unit.
It's all right, though. I can hear the Hephaestus pilot screaming right now as he's being torn to pieces by 2 big angry wolves.
Well, weirdly enough, you cannot... They are not VA, and they're not infantry, so they cannot shoot at the same hex that they're in. So the only thing they can do is the proto-frenzy.
That is good to know.
But it also keeps that Hephaestus from shooting them, so...
More of a defensive move than an offensive.
Right. Now that it's immobile, it's one of those I can finish off with spare shot.
Yeah, it's easy pickings for your leisure. All right, let's get into some...
tuck the damaged Centaur back behind that level 1 hill just to save him for later.
Gotcha. He's still got his LRM-3. You never know.
It's all right. I'm rooting for the frenzy to take place.
Right? Want to see what it looks like, at least. All right, the Battle Master moved up. Vapor's battle armor moved up a bit. The Cauldron Boy moves up.
I actually backed off on this.
Oh, I'm sorry. I misspoke. Both the Battle Master and the Highlander 2C3 backpedaled to be adjacent to the Kit Fox. Vapor jumps his Grendel to the rear of the Kit Fox, which has not moved yet, but he's also in the rear of both the Highlander. Oh, ran, jump, close enough. Yeah. It is fast enough to get there in a hurry. But more importantly, he's in the rear arc of the Highlander 2C3 and I think side arc of the Battlemaster C.
Correct. And the goal was to get out of the pulses. He doesn't have much armor left, but he's still got all of his guns. So I wanted him up in there fighting, but I knew I could not stand up to another round of pulses.
Gotcha. So what was going through your head during this point? Most of your units are already moved. All you've got left is the Uller and your medium battle armor. What was your plan here?
So my 2 assault mechs backed up so that they could take pulse laser shots at the protomechs that are coming in as a swarm. And the Uller is going to move forward, turn around, and come back. And my thought process was to push his Grendel into that water.
Oh, cheeky. Let's see if it'll happen during the combat lock. But we'll get into the rest of the movement for this match. I can only assume that the Dragonfly jumps forward, and you just already described what the Kit Fox is going to do. There's the Dragonfly into the forest. It looks like a almost 8x jump to me. And there's the Uller. 7. Okay. See, I was close. Almost 8. 7 is almost 8. Yeah.
That is a very brave Uller there's a phrase for it, but I always say it wrong and it sounds like a adult position. But did you move it in a circle real quick?
Nope, I ran forward, I turned around, and I came running straight back.
Gotcha.
He still counts all those hexes as move, though. So I think he still had a +2 mod, if I remember right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he had a +2.
Gotcha.
And he's only 6'9" to begin with, so he's not the fastest little kid.
But he's fast enough to get a charge off, which is what you needed him to do. All right. So only one unit left to move. Whoa. And it's the Anyo strike tank, which moves up into almost point blank range, just 2 hexes out from the Highlander, the Battlemaster, and the Kit Fox. Looks like he's in the left arc of the Kit Fox, not quite rear if my line of sight is correct.
I misplayed on this one. I should have angled him one more to the right to get the front arc. But that's, again, me not being very familiar with vehicles.
Yeah, you never want to give up a side arc. That's a
I
lot
didn't
more
realize-
motive crits.
I assumed that was still the front arc, like on a battle mech, and it is not.
Noted. All right.
The other thing there is that in your tank, Mega Mech automatically assumes side, but I think a defender could choose rear on tabletop there because some of them is defender's choice, and while it's rare you would ever want it to be a rear shot, I think that might be one of those edge cases where, a difference between the tabletop and Mega Mech is you could choose that.
If I had stopped at 0711, it would still be the front arc. But the way that tanks do their arc, where I moved up like that, even though on a normal battle mech, that, 0609 up towards the Highlander is technically his right-hand arc.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was talking about on the Kit Box.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't too worried about him. He was going to dump into the easier shots. That Highlander had the headshot on him already. I wanted more crit seeking into the Highlander. Fishing for head hits is what I was really doing.
But to your point, he's actually to the left of the hex line that would have been Uller's left arc. So it's always going to be left arc versus rear from that hex.
Gotcha.
All right. These are the lines of fire, and man, are they crisscrossing all over the place. Looks like they're trying to put down the Hephaestus scout tank, and they're trying to defend the Hephaestus scout tank from those little proto quad mechs. And of course, very. And of course, the rear shot coming in, I can only imagine on the Highlander, and fishing for crits with these two here, like you mentioned on the Highlander as well. That is a damn far shot for battle armor, let me tell you.
Yeah, but it's immobile.
Yeah, so it was a super easy shot. I think it was on a 5 or 6.
Oh, yeah.
Short range.
Are you kidding me? Yeah, short range for battle armor?
Well, no. Think about it. If long range is +4, short range -4 for being immobile, he's hitting it as if he was in short range.
Am I mistaken? Good Lord, that is a 7 hex range on that little battle armor machine gun that they've got.
That wasn't a machine gun, it's the SRM.
Oh, okay. All right. That makes more sense. I was like, good Lord.
Yeah, no, the machine gun is still 3 hexes.
It's clan tech. It'd be short range anyway, even if it was a machine gun.
That's true.
But
we can hit the whole
like
map.
we were just discussing, I was not going to get a better shot with those SRMs, so I figured I'd dump them into and try to finish off that Hephaestus.
Gotcha. I mean, it's immobile. Might as well take advantage of that. And I'm -4.
And this is my second tactical error where I accidentally fire some weapons on the Kit Fox.
Oh, because then you can't do the push.
Yep.
Oops.
Battle plan fail.
Can a Kit Fox push? I thought you needed 2 hands. You only
It
need
has
one.
2
do.
hands.
Oh. I'm looking at the Catalyst Games model, and I only see 1 hand, so that was throwing me off.
The model only has 1, but it actually has the critical slots.
Nice.
Gotcha. All
But
right.
where he shot with the arm weapons, he could no longer push.
Yeah.
Unfortunate. Ugh. I hate it when I do stuff like that. And it takes me like a week to get over it. All right, let's get into the combat log. Tag nailing the Cauldronborn. I don't know if that's going to be of any use this time around.
Well, but look at this Highlander 2C, though. It's not doing much to the Viper, but Streak 6 manages to... There's this red all over the place. Takes out a large pulse laser. I didn't know those could malfunction. Does that just
Yeah,
mean
if you,
destroy
it's a crit. No, I think you can unjam them if they melt. Well, maybe
It's a vehicle
destroyed
critical
them.
hit where it's basically just pooped for a turn.
Oh, so it's
That's
like
a-
crew stun, but for the weapon.
So weapon stunned, which is pretty bad for a critical hit roll result. You want to at least, destroy
Better
the
than
weapon.
destroyed. Yeah.
Well, I mean, for you, but for Ellyrian, it's like, oh man, really?
Well, it's
Well,
okay, though, because that Streak 6, after taking some MPs, it ends up immobilizing it with the second round and just more MP hits, stabilizer, destroy.
Here's the important one right there is the engine destroyed, which then turns off that LPL for the rest of the game.
Oh, so it's done anyway. So
Yeah.
it worked out.
And it rounds it out with the Hag 20 finally hits this turn to the Dragonfly for 12 damage. And
On a 9 at that.
yeah, and Hags hit on clusters of 5, so it's basically LRM at that point.
Exactly. Direct fire LRM only. With the -1 to hit, mind you. All right, next up, the Cauldronborn, lighting up the Battlemaster C a little bit, nailing him with the Ultra Auto Cannon 20. I'm not sure if you if you went full
I did
auto.
not.
Didn't think so.
I
With
don't
an 8.
drop that until lower.
Gotcha.
Return, you got the Grendel, scrapes up the Highlander a bit.
And looks like, is this the Battlemaster firing? Yep,
Mhm.
yes it is. Takes out one of those Procyon proto quad mechs. Looks like he nails him with, what is that? An SRM? Or ATM-6. Puts him out of his misery with a bunch of torso and leg shots.
Hang on, I think I got that War Crime sticker from the MRC Discord around here somewhere. We need to start posting that here, because that's a lot. Even after he kills it, he still starts doing more crits and destroying weapons.
No, there's 2 of them. Look, it goes from
Oh, he shot
both of them.
2 of
Procyon.
them.
Nice
Yeah.
fire.
Yeah, he
he got
hits both of them.
Damn.
Torso weapon
Well-
destroyed. I don't know if it's, out of the game
He's
at
still
that
alive.
point, but it looks like he at least lost a important weapon. And he split again to the Cauldronborn too. Man.
Is there a third penalty,
Oh.
like +2 to hit the
Nope.
third target?
No, you can, once you split, you might as well hit as many different targets as you want.
Gotcha.
But
With the
he
T-top
misses.
pulse, you can get away with it because he's baseline gunnery 0.
If he wouldn't have split fire, he would have nailed with that hag because he missed a 6 with a 5 roll. But then again, he would have been shooting a hag at a poor little proto-mech, so it probably
They
would have been a
deserve
waste
it.
anyway. Yeah, I think they do. Next up, Dragonfly, turning fire onto the Highlander in the front arc, needing 11s, and looks like he whiffs again. Although he hits 1, sorry, for the right leg, which, it's a Highlander, he can take it.
Well, I want to see these Rachel battle armor get in a slap fight, but looks like Lyrians didn't do much of anything to that Grendel.
No, they whiffed, but Vapor's Rochelle battle armor are putting the hurt on that poor little Hephaestus. Engine destroyed. It was immobile before, but now it's double immobile. It's taken like 5 extra motive crits. And the crew is stunned for a turn.
Engine destroyed was the important one there because that shut off his pulse lasers.
Yeah, he's no longer combat effective and would be in forced withdrawal if it could move. As of right now, it is a permanent initiative sync going forward.
What I've learned from this match so far is, Vapor, I need to go trick-or-treating in your neighborhood dressed as a pulse laser.
Pretty much.
And Enyo, putting some fire onto the Highlander, nails him with all 3 of those Streak 6s. That is a lot of damage, and not a single one generates a head hit or a crit.
Nope. And I missed the LPL, the only time it really had a good shot, and it misses
With
and then immediately
fives.
gets turned off.
Oh, speaking of being turned off, Hephaestus returns fire onto the Grendel, blows off his left arm as a little death knell there for him, and crits out one of the ATM 6s on the Grendel. So not a bad last gasp, considering he's out of the game going forward.
But look at all these little proto-mech little punchies here. You got the orc scraping up a few things on the, Hephaestus, mainly because it's the easy shot. The Procyon, whatever.
Procyon, I think.
Procyon is how I've been saying. I don't know if that's right.
We'll go with Procyon. And both of them kind of take little nibbles at these battle masters, but that damage stacks up because he's going to be taking some PSRs now.
That is correct.
Enough to push him over the extra 20 for the extra +1 on his PSR.
So the Highlander 2C makes his 7 piloting roll, but the Battlemaster C does not and falls. He takes the piloting hit. He makes his seatbelt check, so he's fine, but he does take the fall damage, which is not ideal, especially when you've got proto-mechs pretty much on your butt. And
speaking of proto-mechs on your butt, let's see how they do in the physical attack phase here.
So the Uller kicks the Grendel, and the Grendel misses the Uller.
Yeah,
Needing
this is the
6s.
point where I
Oof.
realized, oops, I fired weapons and I can't push him.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you take what you can get. Kick is better than nothing. The push would have been nice. Maybe you could have put him over the edge and had something that was critted out be flooded.
Well, he had open torsos and stuff, and a leg. I was hoping to push him into the water and flood those locations.
Yeah, that would have instantly destroyed both of those locations, correct?
Correct. It would have finished him off.
That would have been a big play there.
And it really hurt because he missed all of his shots. Like, if he hadn't fired at all, he could have been pushed. Now, I think you still would have needed, what, a 10?
Base 5, I ran 6, 7. Your 3 defense, I think it was.
No,
like
more than that. It was 4 defense.
Well, you need a 9 for the kick, so you would have probably needed 2 more than that. Would have been 11s, maybe.
Yeah, it would have been 10s or 11s.
All
was definitely a, hey, this will be funny as hell if it happens.
Yeah.
It's a Hail Mary for sure.
Going for it.
And the Mongrel stays standing. Not really too much heat to talk about, except for 10 on the Highlander 2C, getting spicy in there for that poor little mech warrior. Going into round 4, Vapor wins initiative this time, and Ellyrian is already on the back foot, losing his Hephaestus scout tank.
It's still there. It's not dead yet.
Well, it is still there. It can seek initiative, but it can no longer fire.
Yeah, it's definitely not a factor in the game anymore.
At this point, it seems like it's just points waiting for Vapor to pick him up. So the Uller repositions down to the south. I'm not sure what your strategy is here, trying to get shots on the Enyo, maybe?
I'm going after the Enyo, and I know it's got forward firepower, and it's a turret locked that way. So I'm completely safe from it at that spot from.
Yeah, he can still fire those SRM6s, if I remember correctly.
But only in the forward functioning.
Yeah. You're not worried about that Dragonfly or being 4 hexes away. Okay, he's already moved the battle armor. There you go. Called the Dragonfly right there.
Yep, coming into the rear arc of the Uller. Probably could have walked there from how far away he was.
I wanted to generate the PMM, so I ran for, I believe, a +3 on that one.
Gotcha.
I was also fishing to try and get him with a low modifier by going after the Uller's back.
Not a bad call there. Dangling a carrot in front of your 2 assault mechs for him to take.
That's one I would have taken.
Oh yeah.
I didn't think Vapor was going to fall for it, but you never know.
Yeah, the call of the backside is strong.
Well, I actually went up and around the other way on the other side of the Enyo. Looped around that way.
Yeah, he went towards the Highlander turn, circled around, and then came back in.
Yeah, that way, and I got my 7 hexes moved for a +3, so that even if he did move anything up, I still had a bit of a chance.
Right on. And it looks like the Battlemaster stood up and moved into the forest for some cover.
Is this the one where he failed the PSR to get up the first time?
I think so.
Okay, because I know he did it at least once.
Yeah, we'll find out when we get to the combat log for sure. And are these proto-mechs in the same hex as the Battlemaster?
I don't remember.
They've already moved, so they may be 1 hex out. I can't tell. There's too many unit tags in the way. But
I feel like they are. I think they all are in that woods hex, the heavy woods.
But you did decide to bring your centaur up out of cover, probably to finish off this poor little Hephaestus.
Yeah. At this point, I've got 2 damaged protomechs and 1 fully functional Orc 4. So they've done their job. They've absorbed so much firepower already. So I figure bring them in and give them something else to shoot at again.
Gotcha. Target-rich environment for Ellyrian. Let's get into some more movement here. Okay, the Clan Medium Battle Armor Rash for Ellyrian jumps back to help cover the Grendel, which immediately jumps away back to the forest or the center of the map. Looks like he's probably either going to put more fire on the Kit Fox or some more fire on the Highlander 2C, which hasn't moved yet. Cauldron
I was
Born.
actually going protomech hunting with the battle armor.
Oh, another good idea. I mean, taking machine gun shots at him and those one-shot SRMs probably put them in a world of hurt. Probably take them out.
SRMs are all spent. I did those the first turn.
Oh, you shot all or both of them. Gotcha.
Yeah, I still have 1 rack on mine. I only shot 1 at the Hephaestus.
Okay, good call. And that Cauldron Born in the north, still a looming threat, hasn't moved yet.
I wanted to see what he did with this Highlander before I committed my big guy.
And the Highlander moves down, safe from the Enyo strike tank. And the Cauldron Born follows.
Yeah, I didn't like those 3 streak 6s to the face last turn.
No, I don't think anybody likes streak
Very
6s
hurtful.
to the face. Especially not after they all hit.
Now you can still get the rear of the Battle Master with them, right?
You can
Correct.
still fire at the battle master. Yep.
Gotcha. So not, ideal situation, but you take what you can get. And at least he's got some woods cover right there.
And I'm in a position to give it a big old boot.
That too. All right. Let's get into the lines of fire here. Any words on this particular turn, this round of movement? Anything standing out to anybody?
This is another confused melee here. Like it seems like it's really devolving into 3 or 4 individual skirmishes instead of that focus fire we saw the first turn.
Yeah, we got the Cauldron Born putting fire on the Highlander putting fire on the Dragonfly putting fire on the Kit Fox, the Mongrel putting fire on the Kit Fox, and the Kit Fox putting fire onto the Cauldron Born. We have ourselves a nice little elongated conga line sort of here. Not the traditional conga line by any means.
On this one, the downside to the Viper C is that you've got to be 1 hex away. So I figured, why not take it?
And it's an Uller. It's got very low rear armor, so this is your best shot, more than likely.
That was the other point. By this point, nobody had lost any initiative units. I've lost a couple protomechs, but we still had the exact same initiative as the beginning. So this turn, my thought was, okay, we'll put heavy firepower from the Cauldron Born into the Highlander. That's the scary target. I could spend a turn with the Grendel and the Dragonfly to try to take out that Kit Fox, just to knock him down a unit. And then really wanted to finish off that Hephaestus, but I didn't have anything to spare at this turn. Other than, I think, whatever my short range is on the Centaur, the ER micro laser.
And Ellyrian, it looks like this Battlemaster C is unloading into these protomechs that are right here. I only see the Centaur. Is there a reason you didn't take any shots on anything else?
I was really just trying to get him off the field to try and get it down to, I think if they are only 2 left, they're in force withdrawal.
Oh, now that I don't know. That's something we'd have to look up.
I did write that if there were 2. I treated him just like a unit of battle armor for that matter. So he would have gotten half points at this point. Force withdrawal in NFL rules is a little bit different than normal force withdrawal. You do not have to do the movement side of it.
Gotcha. And this was for NFL testing, so it makes sense that we'd be using NFL force withdrawal. But it is for points, which makes sense, which is why he's going for that Centaur.
And I think I threw the Hag from the right arm into the immobile tank.
You didn't really have that much. You put something into the medium. Or no, is that, yeah, you did.
Yeah, it looks like it's going into the medium battle armor. I don't see any lines.
Oh, yeah, that's what it was. I couldn't get I couldn't get it at the tank without screwing up my primary shots because I didn't want to have a side arc. This way, everything is at least in front arc when I'm firing.
Gotcha. That makes sense. All right. Speaking of firing, okay. Movement phase. No, looks like the Battle Master made his piloting roll to get up this turn.
And right out of the gate, that Evan Jaguar had some decent shots, but only landed AC-20. I say only, but it still landed an AC-20 and a pulse on the Highlander there.
Hell yeah, I'll take landing an AC-20 over not landing an AC-20 any day of the week. But he does give up 2 pulse lasers for the AC-20 hit, which is, fair. Nothing really to write home about the damage. Just shaving armor off that Highlander 2C3. Eventually, it'll get through. It's a big slab of steel.
Well, we got
a lot more interested in knocking it down. Was planning on actually doing true damage. It had taken a smattering of hits, but if I can get it on the ground, it becomes a lot easier to deal with.
Go ahead,
we
Pyre.
got the near conclusion of the Grindel and Kit Fox tizzy going on here.
Needing
Yeah, he pumps
6s.
2 medium pulses into the right leg and clips the hip.
Oof. So that is a death knell for a Kit Fox or any other light mech. Oh, that is a Hag 30. Oh, it misses. Okay.
No, you're looking further down, though. It's got the ATM 6 hits, but a medium pulse hits the torso. It says to MG. What is MG?
Main gun.
Yeah.
So that's like if it was a summoner, it would be like the missile barrel. But
Exactly.
Pretty much. Protomechs have a slot for, I guess, a heavier weapon. I'm not sure what the construction rules are for it, but they do have an option for a main gun in basically the torso. Normally it's something heavier, and it cannot fire something that's a main gun as well as arm-mounted weapons. That came up on Spark Alpha. I was testing it out against Princess, and it has a Streak 6 as a main gun, and then 2 some kind of small lasers. You can only fire one or the other. You cannot fire both.
good to know.
Yeah, and he's destroyed by damage. So one
That was
more
the damaged
Protomech
Centaur.
out of the game. Yep, that's the damaged one that we saw him unloading into.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, it's the Dragonfly in the rear arc of the poor little Kit Fox. And he is connecting, gaining heat, hits him with the flamers, but only going through on one location to the left torso so far, and not really having any fruit come from that little crit hit.
And then you got Rachel comes in and goes all Karen on that Poicon. So destroys it by torso destruction, probably by a handbag.
That's one less battle armor on the field. They are most definitely in force withdrawal, but more importantly, that's one less unit to worry about. Battle armor earning their points there for Ellyrian. Next up, the Enyo, taking advantage of the rear arc of the Battlemaster C, nails him with 2 Streak SRM 6s on 6s, needing 6s, and rolling 6s. That's a lot of 6s.
Well, and that's a good example of why you shouldn't be so afraid of rear shots. Because even though he landed 12 hits, only like 7 of those were to the rear torsos.
Yeah, they went everywhere.
They kind of went everywhere. So, yeah, rear shot's never good, but you can roll and hit the legs and arms.
Yeah. Again, this is another one where I was more interested in triggering a PSR where he has piloting 5. All of a sudden, like if I can get these on the ground, like things are going to go a lot easier.
Yeah, if you could get 40 damage on him, that's a 50-50 almost. That is going to fall over.
And with that Highlander running its heat up, if it drops, it's not going to stand up real easy. If it does, it's not going far.
And the Kit Fox with the rebuttal onto the Cauldronborn, needs 7s, misses with the lasers, but hits with an SRM4 and the LB5X, getting a crit on the foot and lower leg. Not bad for the poor little Kit Fox that just got opened up.
And that's why you bring those things with that LB5.
Yep, crit fishing, and you found a crit fish.
Well, that Highlander 2C, as much as it wanted to on 8s, it got a pulse laser, did a medium laser crit out on the Dragonfly, but nearly took the arm off. That's pretty disappointing.
Yeah, you need him to pull a little more weight there and hit. Granted, he had hard target numbers for the most part, but not really, being effective this round.
I was trying to do a little bit against the Dragonfly and hoping to ditch some heat.
Understandable.
That's fair.
Definitely need a round to cool off. The Orc 4 pouring in the Hephaestus, not really putting him out of his misery yet. He's still on the field. Centaur 2, more damage into the Hephaestus. They take out the tag. Uh-oh. He's got even one less weapon to work. But, man, there's a lot of armor on this bad boy. It is taking these poor little Protomechs forever to chew through this. They just don't have the damage to deal with this Procyon. Or, I'm sorry, this Hephaestus on their own.
Well, and that Procyon doesn't do much, but now we're into the falling phase, and as Vapor predicted, He did just enough damage that needed a 6 to keep that Battle Master standing and rolled a 5. So it did it.
That's his second fall this game, correct?
In his second turn in a row.
Yep.
Daryl's a 5 pilot.
Didn't take the piloting hit, though. Made a seatbelt check, so at least, you can't lose them all. On the other hand, though, the Kit Fox falls from the hip actuator and the foot actuator being hit, not needing good numbers. 9 is a little too tough for him, falls on a 7, and takes 3 damage to the center torso rear, which goes internal. Doesn't generate a crit, though. He does take the pilot hit, and Cauldronborn makes both of his piloting checks, even though he's got a leg actuator hit.
2 leg actuators, but he's
2.
faced piloting 3.
Ooh, man, that is one skilled pilot.
I have some extra points.
Getting into the kicking phase, Highlander 2C puts his foot right into that Enyo strike tank, but it's still on the board. It's even more less mobile than it was before with another motive hit. And the Dragonfly kicks the Uller, but doesn't have anything bad come of it because the Uller's already on the floor. He hits the leg anyway. And the Orc misses his poor little frenzy attack.
I do like what you said, though, Vapor. If you have extra points, put him in piloting skills on a mech that's at least 60 tons means you've got a potential head capper that you just skilled up a little bit.
Yeah, I'm more interested in keeping my big guns standing.
Yeah, I had to drop my 3 4s to 3 5s just so I could have the battle value to fit what I wanted in.
Yeah, and that's always the game you have to play.
Yeah, list
Mind you, I'm
building.
used to playing 4 or 5 Innister pilots, so the 5 wasn't really going to worry me.
That's fair. Next round, Vapor wins initiative again. So that's
this
twice in
one
a
was
row.
big. Winning it twice in a row was huge right here.
Yeah, Ellyrian could use some breathing room here, but the dice say no.
At this point, I know I'm in trouble.
Oh, yeah. We're getting into some movement here. Vapor's battle armor are moving up. Of course, the 2
Weirdly enough-
mobile units are using their initiatives properly and going at the beginning of the round.
Wrong. It would not let us pick either one of them once they were immobile. It just skipped it. So they just didn't count for initiative at all, which we both would have
Wow.
done it at the beginning anyway.
That's surprising.
So
I've never
it
seen
was
it do
some
that
setting.
before.
There's some setting we either missed or somebody had turned on.
All right, Battlemaster C stands up. This must be the turn where he fell the first time because he is still in the hex he started in. Cauldronborn backs up. Not sure why, but
I needed to sync initiative, and where he took the 2 leg hits, he's now a 3/5.
gotcha.
So out of all my units, that was the one I could justify backing up.
And it keeps him in short range with that Ultra Autocannon against the Battlemaster.
Correct. And
Also-
that's the other thing.
Also a good call.
Because now I'm going to need 5s for that ultra.
Okay, then we got the Grendel moving up to the right side arc of the Battlemaster C into melee range, so he'll be getting a kickoff on him, assuming he's still standing to make the kick.
Well, you say a kick, I'd be interested in seeing that Battlemaster turn and somehow clocking him with a fist.
That too, a punch
Well,
from a
but if he does
Battlemaster,
that,
painful.
then you can't shoot at anything else. So
The
hitting
style.
him from all those different arcs was kind of the goal.
Kit Fox looks like it falls into the
It got
forest over
up.
here.
Made it, but where it ran and has the broken hip, had to roll another PSR.
Oof. And his weapons are facing away from pretty much all of Vapor's units.
Down an arm at this point.
Goodbye, Kid Fox.
It was a bad move for the Kid Fox. Not in the sense that, tactical error, just he had a bad time.
Yeah, he did not have a lot of good choices on that one, though. Like, there wasn't much he could do.
All right, we're getting in nice and close here. It looks like most of the movement, if not all of it, is done this time. Highlander 2C jumps into the forest or walks, can't tell from here. More than likely jumps from where he was before. And the Dragonfly takes advantage and goes for rear arc.
And notice that play, though. The Kid Fox, if it's missing an arm, it's on the floor. It can't do anything, which is why he's probably not too worried about it hitting the Dragonfly now in the Highlander's rear.
Correct. And the play with the Dragonfly was to get those flamers, and I kind of figured you'd be worried and mass shooting with the Highlander, and I wanted to add 6 more heat.
And I've been running my stuff hot, trying to make sure, okay, can I try and finish this off? Can I try and finish that off? I got to start dropping the numerical advantage he's got on me.
Yeah. Well, and again, like, neither one of us have actually lost a full unit at this point. For as much damage that's been thrown around, everybody's still in the game.
Some of them are a little more roughed up than others, but yeah.
My Protomechs are in forced withdrawal. Both of our My tank's not in force withdrawal yet. I don't think the Hephaestus is either, unless engine destroyed counts. We'll have to look that up at some point.
Either way,
If it
both
does,
of those
it should.
vehicles are out of the fight.
Yeah, I've still got SRM6s, and with that Battlemaster staying in the same spot, I'm just going to keep chucking them at them, hoping for something fun to happen.
All right, let's look at the lines of fire, I think. There they are. That is a lot of fire going on to that Battlemaster. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 units focusing fire down on him. And then the Viper putting rear shots into the Highlander.
Yeah, the Battlemaster
like-
has elected to receive.
I feel like I tossed my second rack of SRM3s at that Highlander as well from the Rocher.
Oh, gotcha.
I think I did the machine guns to the Battlemaster just because I had so much going into it.
What's a little more damage? Couldn't hurt.
Well, if I put him out of the misery, it would have been a wasted 3 rack. So,
It's an insurance policy.
And since battle armor doesn't suffer the multi-targeting penalty,
right, it doesn't hurt to
doesn't?
split their fire.
Huh.
Right. What was that, Pirate?
I was curious. It doesn't suffer the multi-unit penalty, so it doesn't suffer multi-target penalty. It doesn't suffer movement penalty, which is why you should jump every turn.
Mhm.
doesn't suffer spotter penalties if you're using them to spot.
Yeah, they're a great unit. Like
Yeah.
battle armor in general are just really strong.
All right, let's get into the firing for this round. Here's the movement. Battlemaster gets up, Uller gets up, and then Uller immediately falls right after. Needs, what is that he needs? A 7, rolls a 6. Not making that 50-50 odds almost.
So it was worth the risk. It just didn't work out.
Yeah, no, I would have taken that too. I don't blame you.
Well, we start off here though with that Cauldronborn taking its dual shot on the Battlemaster. One of them hitting though, and hitting the center torso, which crits out the Hag 30 ammo. So I don't know how much ammo was in that Hag, or how many Hag ammos he had, but
Plenty, because I think I ended up hitting both of the ones in the CT.
yep, further down you sure do. You get a triple crit hitting the engine, the gyro. That's a force withdrawal on top of more Hag 30. So really, they're safe putting the Hag 30 ammo in the center torso though, because it doesn't explode, right?
Correct.
But it sure absorbs those extra crits and saves.
Yeah, it did keep him in the game for one more turn for sure.
And it's better than hitting the Hag itself, because then you don't take the explosion and the 2 pilot hits.
Oh, but wait.
There's more.
Yeah, and you do take out that Hephaestus though.
Yeah.
Finally. Just took something with an actual weapon to put it down. Don't.
But just the way they were talking to us, I don't think they were talking about the Hephaestus.
Me neither. I think there's more to come shortly. But I was gonna say, don't send a proto-mech to do a real mech's job. Sorry, had to get that one in there. All right, we've got the Grendel here, Mongrel E, putting damage onto the Battlemaster in the front arc again. Nothing to write home about there.
That Battlemaster is pissed though, because it's just taken a medium pulse laser and blown out the ATM-6 ammo, takes out the right torso of that mongrel, and follows it up with a medium pulse to knock a gyro.
Oof. So that Grendel is most definitely in force withdrawal. Granted, it doesn't really mean much for NFL, but that is points on the board for Ellyrian. Puts more damage into the Enyo.
Yeah, it's not even done yet. That Hag 30 hitting the Enyo and destroying it too.
Ooh, got not quite a double kill, but that's definitely more points on the board. So I'll say that's a good round for the Battlemaster C. He's taken a beating, but he's given one out in return.
And we both finally lost a unit.
Yeah, that too. That's more important. Dragonfly in the rear arc of the Highlander 2C doesn't connect with much. Whiffs
on a bunch of 7s.
Yeah, you hate to see it, but I mean, realistically, his armor seemed to still be pretty much intact. So
He's actually looking better in the rear than the front at this point.
Right.
It's all right, so am I. But had to there. The Enyo though comes in streak 6. It's taking a little more chipping on everything, including a center torso. But other than adding more points to hopefully knock it over, not much else.
And the Highlander 2C's rebuttal onto the Cauldronborn connects with a lot of weapons, but there's still a lot of armor to go through on that Cauldronborn. Nothing important
it's
coming
max
through.
armor except for the legs. It is a beautiful mech. It's just tough to kill.
It's definitely one, if you can find partial cover, like it'll survive a lot.
Noted. Might be adding one of these to a future list. And
All right,
Streak
but
6 missed the poor little clan battle armor.
just
Again, I was only targeting him because it was worth the shot, but on 10s, I wasn't worried about the heat.
Go ahead, Pirate.
I was going to say I'll let you call out what Rachel does here to that poor Highlander.
Uh-oh, what do we got? SRM3, one shot, hits. Where do we hit him? Critical hit left leg, critical hit CT, critical hit on engine. Wow. That is not
And
bad.
that's why I tossed those at that guy.
That's a through armor critical because there's still 27 armor remaining. That is 5 extra heat on that poor little Highlander who's already overheating. Next up, we've got Ellyrian's Rachel battle armor. They go internal. No, that's not internal. They
Leg attack.
Yeah, they do a leg attack, but they don't generate a crit, unfortunately.
Well, that's good to know. I thought leg attacks were in the physical phase for some reason.
Nope, they're your weapon attack.
Yeah, because you have to declare it during the weapon firing phase, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and technically, I think they're like throwing satchel charges or trying to nip at the exposed actuators or something.
Yeah.
They're trying to pry open the armor and use their machine guns to try and blast actuators or whatnot.
All right, and the Orc 4, what's this? Comes in with a machine gun and crits out 2 double heat sinks, 3 double heat sinks, and an engine with his other machine gun. So that Oler is looking worse for wear, and that Orc is earning his little battle value that was spent on him. I'll take it.
Well, what we won't take is gravity. So the Highlander 2C there falls as we expected, crits out to Streak 6 in the lower arm. It's just not doing too happy.
No, and he takes the piloting hit on the seatbelt check. That's his second piloting hit of the game. And the Battlemaster C also falls, needs 11, rolls 10 because he took 60 damage this turn, and he's got a gyro hit. So that's a tough roll to make, and he does not. So he falls, doesn't make his seatbelt check, and takes his first piloting hit of the game. He probably won't be standing up again after that.
You can take it. If Matt's Blood Reaper can take 100 plus damage in a turn, I'm pretty sure that Battlemaster will be fine.
That's fair. I think the Blood Reaper only took 80 damage, but that's still maybe it was 100. That's still a hell of a lot of damage, though. Cauldronborn makes his piloting check. The Mongrel E, who's now missing a torso, falls and blacks out with his that's got to be 4. Oh, that's his 4th pilot hit.
Yeah.
So he needs a 10 to stay conscious. He is now taking a nap on the battlefield. Now for fisticuffs, that means the Mongrel won't be getting a melee attack this turn. Cauldronborn misses his kick on 8s to punt one of the poor little Rachel battle armors away. And the Viper kicks the Highlander 2C, who's now on the floor. 4 internal structure remaining in that left arm. And the Cauldronborn succeeds his failed kicking attempt.
Didn't even have the good graces to fall down after the missed kick for me.
Right? Well, he is a 3 pilot, so,
He's such a jerk.
Those 2
He's got
leg
those 2 leg
actuators.
hits.
Yeah, so now he's an
That makes him
average
almost
pilot.
normal.
Yeah, now he's an average inner sphere pilot, which means he's a bad clan pilot. So rounding out the end of this turn, Highlander 2C, 9 heat. Battlemaster 2C, 9 heat, and 3 heat for the Cauldronborn, and only 2 for the Mongrel with those 2 extra engine hits, which means he didn't fire that many weapons, or he didn't have that many weapons
I didn't
fire.
have that many left.
Yeah,
I was
there we
missing
go.
The ATM from earlier. But when you don't jump with them, they've got a lot of room for heat. That's one of the other things I like about that design.
Okay, and it looks like, wait, what is that? So Vapor rolls an 8, Ellyrian rolls an 8. Then they re-roll, so I guess Vapor rolls a 5, and then Ellyrian rolls another 8. So he finally wins initiative for what seems like the first time this game. So we'll go ahead and get into it. All right, looks like the Mongrel E moved, couldn't get up. The Orcs, which means is he the last remaining?
He's the only survivor right now.
He's the last of the Proto-Mechicans. Dragonfly jumps to the rear of the Battlemaster's current position. The Battlemaster is prone in force withdrawal with the gyro hit. Since it's NFL rules, he doesn't have to try to stand with that Battlemaster, if I'm correct.
Correct.
All right, so he can maybe pivot and do some arm shooting.
So why did you move that Dragonfly first instead of that battle armor?
Mostly because the Hitfox had stood up and killed itself.
Oh, we'll get into that.
That was my first move.
I didn't see him on the map. I was wondering, oh, maybe I just zoomed in and missed it.
Tried to stand up and killed himself. So at that point, I wanted my TMM up. I knew that Highlander couldn't go very far. And so I figured I would drop the Dragonfly into the Battlemaster to try to finish him off this turn because I knew I was going to push forward. Basically, I was just rotating position because when you have speed, you have to keep your TMM up.
Very true.
Just swapping units back and forth. I knew neither one of his could move far. So that's the way I played it.
So it looks like that Dragonfly went from here all the way to over here, correct?
Correct.
Gotcha. And the Battlemaster actually stands up. Was that a careful stand, Ellyrian?
It was.
Well, it probably needed it with that gyro hit.
Well, you can't just lay there. You got to be, you're a clanner. You got to stand up. You just have to.
That's fair. Fair.
And so he did.
That's right. And the Cauldronborn moves up into melee range with the Highlander 2C. Highlander has tonnage on him, but the Cauldronborn still has a lot of armor and firepower to bring to bear.
Yeah, it's more important to get the Ultra AC-20 into range. And let's see, 5s?
All right, let's see what the lines of fire look like, because there's not much really in the ways of movement. So Highlander 2C looks like he's putting out damage onto the Cauldronborn, the Orc 4, and the Grendel, splitting fire 3 ways.
Screw those guys.
If you're going to split fire, you might as well split it as many times as possible. And it looks like the Battlemaster is putting some shots down onto the Dragonfly and the Orc 4. Maybe trying to get the board wipe on the Protomex to get some extra points on the board.
And spite. I want those guys dead now.
Fair assessment. As Pirate usually says, sometimes you just got to kill that MFer. All right.
Pick an objective and go for it.
Let's pull up the game log because this one looks like there's not much left to it.
Oh, there's that first move of the Ullard falling and blowing itself up.
Ooh, 3 damage left torso, section destroyed. There goes his engine because he already took 2 hits earlier. Hate to see it. Needed a 7, rolls 6 again. Twice in a row. The same exact thing happened to that poor little Kit Fox.
Well, and notice that Battlemaster. It needed an 8, but it rolled a 9 to get up, so good job.
That's an 8 with a careful stand, which means he would have needed a 10 normally. Man. Alrighty then, getting into the weapon phase. Cauldronborn at point blank range into the Highlander, nails him with both rounds of the AC-20, goes internal into the left torso, and brings the center torso down to center 7 armor. Right arm goes internal, but doesn't look like anything important goes down on that Highlander 2C, just burrowing into the armor.
It's alright, Highlander 2C gets it back with 2 pulse lasers that hit. Streak 6 misses the Orc, and a Hag 20 that looks like it blows out the CT of the Grendel to finish him off.
There it is, destroyed by damage.
Oh, maybe not. I didn't. I just took the shot at the immobile guy.
Needs 4, rolls 4. Good thing he was immobile. Good lord.
You almost stack pulled. Good thing you didn't.
Good thing for Ellyrian. And the Dragonfly into the Battlemaster gets him in the head with a flamer. So that's another piloting check, or consciousness check. That's his 2nd hit so far.
Much head.
Oof.
A lot of head hits this game.
Misses with 7s for most everything, but 1 more machine gun doesn't really do anything spectacular. Now,
so I'm glad I see this though. The rash battle armor does 4 damage and a through armor crit, which does nothing. How do you tell how much leg attack damage the battle armor is going to do? Is it on the chart?
It's baseline 4 unless you have 2, vibro claws. Or if you have the Myomer booster for battle armor.
If you make the leg attack, you roll for crits. If you get crits, you get crits. If you fail the crits, you do the 4 damage. Unless you have those bonus
you do 4 damage no matter what.
Yeah, you do the damage and the crits.
Chances. If your 4 damage does internal damage, you get 2 rolls on the crits for crit chances.
See, we were trying to figure this out in person, and somebody did a leg attack, and then all of us in the room went, "We don't know what to do here."
It's in. Is it Total Warfare?
It's in Total Warfare. You start with 4 damage, you roll for crits, and then you see about going forward. The stuff that
Right.
has the vibro claws are the bonuses.
But it has to
Yeah.
have 2 of them in order for it to be extra damage. And I think they do like 6 damage at that point.
Yeah, it's
And
not
if you have
that
the-
much.
It's not, but I mean, it does add up, especially on lighter mechs. The other thing there's a triple strength bomber for battle armor
Yeah,
as well.
so I was just about to get into that, and it doubles the claw damage if I remember correctly.
Correct. Now there is what is that? Fashi 2, the experiment or the unique one that if it hits, it does 12 damage.
Which is
Yeah,
ridiculous.
it's insane.
Those
So-
to a friendly pickup just to make less friends.
Yeah, no
Well,
kidding.
they are unique, so there is that.
So one thing to note is anytime you automatically generate a crit, there's always a chance to generate a crit naturally through penetrating armor or going internal. So unless it specifies otherwise in a particular rule for a weapon or ammo type.
So, Jesty, I think the Battle Master got his wish, though, there.
Yep. What do we have here? Misses with the hag, hits him with the ATM-6, and what destroys that poor little Orc 4, blacks out, and he's destroyed by damage to the center torso, critical hit.
Yeah, F that guy.
So the Zerglings have all been wiped out. There are no more Protomechs. So that's full points for that particular unit for Ellyrian there. Going further down, we see some hits. Find the Dragonfly. 4 internal structure remaining. Gets 1 Flamer critted out, but not what you're hoping for. You want to get some ammo or something better than that. But it's something. It's 1 less Flamer coming your way next turn.
Oh, and the Orc doesn't really do much of anything, and the Ellyrians, Rachel's, do some hits, but the Grendel's already dead. That's just being mean now.
Yeah, cue the Ralphie meme. Stop, he's already dead. Highlander 2C into the piloting checks. Needs an 8, rolls a 7, falls again. Uh-oh, what do we have here? Takes 9 damage, 5 to the head, which is another head hit. Critical hit on left arm because it goes internal, I think. Section destroyed, left arm. Uh-oh. Doesn't make his seatbelt check. Needs an 8, rolls a 4, and that's a 4th head hit. He is now blacked out. Doesn't make his consciousness check on 10s. So
It's nap time.
That's knowing them.
Yep, that is a death knell for that Highlander next turn, more than likely. And the Dragonfly makes his piloting check. Getting into the fisticuffs, Cauldronborn needs a -3, and luckily he rolls a 9 and hits the immobile Highlander, who's now taking a nap. Only 13 damage to the right torso. Doesn't penetrate, leaves him with 0 armor. Dragonfly goes to kick the Battle Master, but misses on 6s. Rolls a 4. Battle Master needs an 8, rolls a 7, misses. They both make their piloting rolls stay standing, though, after the unsuccessful Rochambeau attempt.
Well,
But you've made it exactly 2, which is the fun part.
Oh, yeah. And Battle Master C is into shutdown range, but needs 4, rolls 6 to avoid it. He's at 14 heat currently, so he's one toasty boy.
doesn't matter. Pilot's blacked out, so
That's the Highlander.
No, that's this is the Battle Master that's running the heat.
Yeah.
Oh, so okay. That's
I could have
That
had
ba-
both assault mechs shut down this turn.
that would have
Well,
been
that
That's-
Battle Master only has 1 CT internal structure at this point.
Oh, man. Okay.
What it really hurt whiffing all those 7s from the Dragonfly because that should have put him down.
All
I
right.
was not expecting it to survive the turn.
Yeah, I was not either, and I think both of us were like, "Oh, you're still here?"
The dice giveth and the
Yeah,
dice
it
taketh
does.
away.
It's a wild game for all the tacks and head hits and craziness.
All right.
Let's see what's probably the last turn here if it doesn't trigger the BV limit.
More than likely will, with an immobile mech and one internal
Okay.
structure remaining. Round
Those
7.
things were so stinking expensive that it did not.
Vapor loses initiative, so Ellyrian at least gets to move his mechs last. The Battlemaster C will be going last overall, I do believe, unless he decides to save his battle armor for last. Let's get into it. There's the brutal aftermath. That's a lot of dead mechs and proto-mechs.
I see the Dragonfly looks like he just stood still because what does he need to do?
Yeah, that
Sure.
Highlander's not going anywhere.
Well, and he's got plenty of cover from the Battlemaster if it even decided to shoot him.
The Dragonfly moved from the Battlemaster down to the Highlander to finish him off.
It did the flip.
Yeah, it just jumped.
I
Yep,
see.
you do not
He's
stand
basically just
still.
one spot, other spot, back
Yep.
spot.
He's just going to go back and forth this whole time.
It's 7 hexes between two trees. He's having a wonderful day.
That's the
Yeah,
perfect
this is like-
setup.
This is his heaven.
And the Battlemaster C standing and delivering with the Cauldronborn in very short range. And Ellyrian's battle armor getting into point blank, not quite melee range. And
Nope, flip
no,
that.
I'm
That's
sorry,
Ellyrian's
Ellyrian's battle armor is in melee range of the Cauldronborn, and Vapor's battle armor is 1 hex out of melee range of the Battlemaster. So
Right,
the
but I'm
Battlemaster, if he survives the shooting phase, which is very unlikely, he'll get a chance to punt one of these suckers out of the battle.
I really wanted to get those machine guns on that 1 point of internal structure on the CT.
Yeah, you got to take as many shots as you can. So let's pull up the combat log and see how this probably, oh, there it is, last turn for sure, shakes out. So Pirate, you want to take us through what happens to this poor little Battlemaster?
So that Cauldronborn does this thing with the AC 20, and you've got this say 20 points of damage.
It does.
Ignore the one internal structure left on the center torso. We're just going to go gang style him in the back. So nice.
Took him the
Execution.
whole game, but he finally got the AC-20 to the head after he's got 1 internal structure remaining. Kind of a moot point now, isn't it,
Yeah.
Cauldronborn?
Hey, you got the hit too. That's really important.
No. And I see lots more red on that Dragonfly, Justy.
Oh, Dragonfly, critical hit, Hag 20 explodes. That's 2 more pilot hits on a 4 damage pilot right there. That
Remember
is
how
a
we were
dead
talking about
pilot.
hag? We were
Yeah.
talking about hags that explode.
It was very important.
6
Mhm.
pilot hits a dead mech warrior makes. So that is both mechs done within the first 2 mechs. So Ellyrian is out of battle mechs. The only thing he has left is his battle armor. Let's see if they can clean anything up and put any hurt onto something. Maybe he'll get a lucky crit on some AC-20 ammo and at least get something of force withdrawal. Oh,
Uh-oh.
So
no, cascading engine failure. What do we have here? A stack pole. No, Ellyrian's battle armor is in range. Takes 8 damage per trooper. Oh, they're not in force withdrawal yet, though. But
it does kill mine.
Vapors. So, hey, at least there's a little cherry on top for that Cauldronborn
Told
going
you,
out.
Crazy stuff happens.
That's an extra 20 points in the NFL Network scoring, anyways. And the Clan Medium Rosh battle armor hits, but doesn't really connect with anything important.
Again, no criticals.
Yeah, rolls for crit, doesn't get any. And the Cauldronborn stays standing. Physical attack phase, none to speak of. And that is it. That is the end of the game. Team 1 achieves the BV destroyed victory conditions with 98%. Not quite the team wipe, with just the battle armor remaining for Ellyrian.
You know, there's something to be said, though, about going out with a bang.
Oh, yeah, that's a nice little cherry on top of this match. A stack pull on the very last turn is how you want to end it. And it did give him more points for that round, if I'm not mistaken.
That was
Oh, it made total difference.
Oh yeah.
So, now that the match is over, how do you guys feel that went down? Any lessons learned? Anything you guys want to point out? Any comments on the match as a whole, Pirate?
So, I'm curious, Ellyrian, what your thoughts were on those proto-mechs just kind of zerging you, because I don't think we get to play with proto-mechs often. So, having played since the 80s, like, what was your thought on seeing that?
They are just a bunch of bullshit. If you don't pay attention to them, they move block you, they get in your rear, and they just spend all day basically picking you apart like what that Dragonfire was supposed to do. So you got to deal with them. If you ignore them, they're just going to have their fun with you.
Yeah, but if you focus on him, that leaves room for the rest of his heavier hitters to have free reign on you. So you have to. It's a catch-22. You got to pick your targets. What's more important, dealing with these little annoying proto-mechs or dealing with the battle mechs that actually carry the big weapons? It's a tough call to make because you don't want to get blocked in, and especially on assault mechs that don't have jump jets.
Well, I think his biggest threat was actually the Enyo tank, followed up by the Grendel, just because they have the ability to hit really hard, and they just didn't die.
It did take both of you a long time to put down each other's vehicles after they were immobile for like 4 turns.
Well, I think the part of it was once they both went immobile, we didn't put a lot of firepower into either one of them until much later. The Highlander kicking that Inyo is what really finished him off. It didn't penetrate the armor, but it left it open for like the spare shots to be tossed at him to finish him.
Yeah, you know, that Enyo got, 3 or 4 more rounds of SRM 6s into that Battlemaster?
He lit that Battlemaster up, and it was just
maybe
all incidental damage. If I had played him a little bit better, he would have been... I feel like he would have done more. That was definitely a commander mistake, getting him crippled like that.
And I just couldn't get out of the range of it. I just couldn't. My Battlemaster falling down. I'm like, I can't get out.
Yeah, I think I would have liked to have seen you, since you know you couldn't get out of the range and there was no way for you to move safely. I would have liked to just seen you turn around with that Battlemaster on that first turn. Yeah, you're gonna eat all 3 of those SRM 6s this turn, which you ended up doing to your rear arc anyway. Just turn around and get rid of it. That way you have more freedom to position. You don't have to worry about that Enyo sitting there.
So it had like 29 points of armor, though. So I wasn't confident that even if I threw everything at it, I would get through it, because I'd splash something on the turret and something on the side and a couple of things in the front, and it would survive even if I was shooting at it.
Well, it was immobile, so you should have gotten the -4 to hit it, right? And
I wasn't worried about not hitting it.
And the target.
I just didn't think I had the firepower to kill it in a turn.
You can't do a called shot?
No, not for... Oh, yeah, I guess no, because pulse lasers can't target, and that's where the majority of my firepower is coming from.
Okay.
Really
there you
fair.
go. Okay, so you didn't have anything to called shot the immobile unit. That's why. Gotcha.
Well, even if he did, then he's got all those proto-mechs. He was taking them down before they could swarm him too heavily. Now, they did eventually, but, you know, an annoying triple streak 6 versus these little bastards jumping all over you, you know?
Yeah, I was hoping to pick off the proto-mechs so they wouldn't move block me and stay on my feet for 1 turn and then move out of the front arc. And then the tank would have been a non-issue.
Very true.
But I kept falling down.
Yeah, your plan was sound. It just didn't go that way. The dice said no.
I saw M&M on the floor, and I was like, I got to get that.
Ooh, a piece of candy.
I'm going to go get the dice said no and put that on a poster like the Krinsky said no.
That does sum up a lot of games.
Right? Oh, tell me about it. They say no to me a lot. So, Vapor, as the Zerg player this time around, how do you feel about this match? I mean, you came out on top, but you took some pretty good losses there. It was closer than it might have looked like on paper, and there were some poor rolls going Ellyrian's way. He had a lot of crit chances, and not many of them came to fruition.
Both of us had a lot of weird dice, both hot and cold, and it was all over the place. So in this one, I just happened to come out ahead just a hair, just enough, and that's what ended up pushing it over.
Yeah, you had the Cauldron-born and the Dragonfly left, correct?
Correct. Everything else by that point, with the stack pole taking out my Roche, that's what I had left.
Gotcha.
Overall, everything I brought, I was pleased with. It did well. I don't quite know if the Cauldron-born H is my true flavor. I do like a lot of flexibility. And with that guy, he's just get in.
Yeah, he's a brawler in the truest sense of the word.
And there's one Cauldron-born that has like an LBX2 or 5 or something crazy.
Yeah, there's one of them that has like 2 LRM-15s and 2 LBX2s, but it's dirt cheap.
Might be what I'm thinking of. I took one against Brad on his recommendation, and it did pretty well for being relatively flexy.
In general, I'm digging the proto-mechs. They do exactly what I want them to do. Just they're be annoying or absorbs. How much firepower do they absorb? Like just rounds and rounds and rounds.
Yeah, they took at least 3 rounds of fire from that Battlemaster, and they still weren't down until almost the second to last turn.
So, Pirate, you're probably thinking of the Cauldron-born Prime, which is a Gauss rifle, an LB5, and an LRM-10, ER medium and an SRM2, or the C, which is a pair of Ultra 2s, a pair of SRM6s, and a pair of Ellyrian 15s.
That's what I'm thinking of. I remember it being a weird loadout that I would normally look at and go, that sucks. But, when players recommend it and you try it and it works,
especially when that player is Brad, who's probably one of the best players that I've ever seen. So.
1831 BV on a heavy mech for Clanner. You just sit in partial cover and shoot across the board.
Yeah, that's a bargain. It's, I would say, comparable to Gargoyle Prime.
I would actually have liked it with LB2s instead of Ultra 2s better, because then you never worry about jamming.
All right, well,
but the designer's got a design.
Yeah,
very true. Well, that's about it for this match. Oh, go ahead, Pirate.
Yeah, question for you, Vapor. Would you take more than 1 point of Protomex?
probably not, just because of how much they slow down the game. I like them. I love them in the lore. Like, Hansa wrote a fantastic story in Shrapnel 10, which is what really turned me on to A, the Hell's Horses, and B, Protos. And then with the Mech Bay doing their Protomech episode, I figured I'd better learn these and figure out something to do for our format, because eventually someone other than me is going to take them, and I'd like to have the rules in place.
Yeah, that someone is me. I love swarms as a Zerg player at heart. I can't wait to get my hands on a point of these bad boys.
If you're going to do it, do me a favor and play them as Snow Ravens, because I haven't touched them, and they've got a different set of protos than what the Hell's Horses get access to.
Oh, I'll definitely go look through those as soon as we're done here, actually.
But you called out exactly what I was afraid of, was more units, more movement, more shooting. It seems like you add more than 1 point, it will start to get stale.
Yeah, that's why I stuck it at 1 point max.
Which is understandable.
Like 1 VTOL per. I've seen what happens when you let them run free.
Right.
So, any final thoughts on this game or these lists or these units? Anything else anybody want to add in?
No, I think I would do exactly the same thing as I did last time, just hopefully not make a couple of those tactical errors.
Yeah, there were very, very few mistakes on either side. I thought it was a fun game, just throwing stuff at each other and seeing what sticks. Like I said, I've never really run tracked vehicles before, so my mistakes with the Inyo were big for sure, but I've definitely learned from them at this point. That's a unit I would definitely take again. Mongrel E, I'm in love with. The I still have to wait another era. I don't think it comes out until Dark Age.
Gotcha. So another 3 months before that can see play.
But it's definitely another fun one that I like. There's multiple Grendels that I haven't touched yet, but am eyeballing. It's definitely a good platform for my style.
Right. Any closing thoughts there, Pirate?
I would love to see this on a different map that didn't force the players to brawl into the middle, to see if the range would give more chances to pick off those protomechs, or some of those things like the large pulse laser spam may have made a different effect on the match. So the map definitely dictated some choices there, as it always does. It would be interesting to see on a, less King of the Hill style map what would happen.
Oh, yeah, that's a very good point. In something like the Tukey Heat map setup, it would take turns, more than 2 turns as it was in this particular match, at least 3 to 4, before you get into short range with those protomechs.
No, and not only that, but like elevation changes and other things with cover, seeing how the protomechs could get across the field without just getting sniped would be interesting.
Definitely.
Yeah, because I had 2 Hags, an LRM 20, LB5, and an ER large that I could have made better use of on a different map.
But if I had more cover, you wouldn't have seen them to shoot at them. So there's the other end of it.
Yeah, they are only height
doesn't
1.
one way 6 the other, right?
Yeah, we'll have to do a rematch in the future at some point.
I'd love to watch that one too.
Most definitely.
I've got to start working on my free worlds list here pretty soon. I'm waiting until Jesty, give him a chance to run some protos, give me some feedback.
Oh yeah, I'll do that in the near future.
The Tachiad maps, I think they'd suffer because it's the grasslands open in the middle.
Gotcha.
Three maps with open in the middle that you got to cross.
Yeah, exactly my point for the Tukey Heat map setup. They would have to cross an entire map sheet with minimal cover, only some sparse woods.
Plus that they're fast, so
yeah, they're still getting that 3 defensive mod.
Yeah, easy. The 6'9" movement profile makes all the difference. I've tried some of the slower ones, and I immediately threw them back away. And I tried the Spark Alpha with the Widge movement, and I did not like it at all.
Oh, hey, we'll get into widges later. I've got something spicy with the widge list.
Well, the problem is it's like a 4-6 Widge, so it's like
okay. Well, yeah, that's your problem.
Yeah,
don't use that.
Hard to, yeah, it's so hard, or for me at least. I don't know enough about it to know that I was playing it right, but man, was it hard to move.
So are we pronouncing it Widge? Because that sounds a lot better than Wiggy, because that reminds me of like Wedgie or something.
Yeah.
I like it.
All right.
The E is silent.
I think that about wraps it up for us here for this particular match. Anybody want to do some shout outs before we call it for the night, guys?
Just that the CBL podcast is doing a giveaway for a Lance right now. So be sure to go over, visit, watch the videos, like, subscribe, and leave a comment so you can get in that draw.
It was a great episode too. I watched it this morning.
Yeah, so did I. They had some very handsome guests on their show this particular episode.
I mean, just 4 handsome individuals on the screen at the same time talking about my favorite game was everything I wanted it to be.
All right, Pirate, you got any closing thoughts for us?
There's a lot of people that have joined MRC lately, so, shout outs as well to Nitro, Rat, FWO Guard. I see y'all all day and they're playing Mega Mech, so I couldn't even name the next 40 people that joined in, some of which I've gotten a chance to get a game in with, so excited to see everybody jumping in. Hope they got to review this match and learn a few things and try them out on our servers.
Yeah, I'm jealous. You guys are playing so much Battletech and I'm stuck at work. Well, I think that does it for us tonight. Everybody, say bye and we'll see you next time.
Adios.
Have a good one.
Later, taters.
See you guys later.